Hey guys, we're back with another episode of Taco Imposters. Look, I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to do something, but I have nothing to talk about. But I wanted to feel like I've accomplished something. You know when you do something in a day and then you're just like, I want even just a slightest amount of feel like you've accomplished something. You know, gratification, and you're like, I feel like I accomplished something. It is Wednesday. Ooh. Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. Damn, it's October already, man. It's crazy, but whatever. It's not the worst. It's not the best. God. Look, I was just thinking about this, right? I was thinking about groups of people, and I was thinking about all the groups that I'm involved in. You know, I've got all these church groups, and then I've got random little groups here and there of things. Well, it's not actually that much, but you know. And then I'm online groups, and there's all these groups that I'm involved in. It's a few, maybe 3 or 4, and I just realized I don't care for any of them. I mean, not to bring her up again, but the previous professor leader, she was you really gotta because we were talking in that one time, right, at it's a young adults, I want to say a rally, but it's more of a it's not either, it's a rally, I guess you could say, a rally, youth, because we used to have a youth rally at the same place, and now it's a, what's it called, a young adult version. Because I'm pretty sure the other one doesn't exist. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think the other one, the youth one, doesn't exist anymore. Because I don't even know if the guy still works there. I don't know. I've been out of this loop for 5 years, so don't ask me any of these people, what's going on in anything. I'm just not involved at all. Anyway, the point is, and she was like, I see you in a lot of these groups. You gotta really find that, thing that really works. That you feel like you're connected. I'm like, I don't know. I might have said something to the effect of, yeah, there's a lot, but I've tried that kind of stuff. I think I said I'm not 100% sure because this was literally 4 months ago or something, but I think I said something to the effect of but I like seeing a bunch of different group setups, and she kind of said this yeah, it's not a bad thing per se, but also find one that you connect, you feel like you actually connect with, it works, and I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right. At least find one that you feel connected to, because I said to myself just now, right, that the way to know whether you should be in this group, or you like this group, or this group is something you should be involved in, is not when you go to it do you feel like you've got anything out of it. It's when you don't go to it, when you remove it from your life, do you feel like, oh, I should be there, oh, I feel like I missed something, oh, what's going on, So, and I've been going to one of them, the church, right? And it's oh, okay, well, I haven't gone to one of them, and I don't. It's not that I don't care, but also I was going with my friend, and he had been able to go for different reasons, for reasons, and so I'm I don't really care. No offense to the group but I just don't care. And then there's other groups, and I'm I just don't care. Maybe I'm just the kind of person who doesn't care. Groups, I kind of take it or leave it, kind of I've never found the social group that works. If you people know a way to know what the social group would work. Also, I think I'm introverted because somebody explained it, I don't remember who it was. Oh, it was some woman psychologist, I think. I don't remember her name. It was Mary or Nancy or something like that. Some of the generic names. Or yeah, it wasn't anyway, something like that. And she said she made it this, described it like this. Social, you have she used coins. I hate that term. I don't know why. It just bothers me some way. But I can make some. Sorry, I'm just looking at a picture here of something I'm doing, and I'm oh, I could do it. Anyway. She made it out to be it's coins. I hate that term. I use a energy bar, energy level, like a power bar, a level, a phone's energy level, battery life. And you have only so much, right? Let's say you do it at a scale of 1 to 5, battery life, right? Every time you're in a group of people, does your battery life go up when you're in that group? or does your battery life slowly go down when you're in a social group? And I've been for like because because it's not just this group, because this group I've been doing for like 9 months or something, 9 months, and so it's like, oh, okay, yeah, 9 months about, yeah, 9 months, and so it's not the worst. It's when I go to different things. I go to other ones. I go to things I don't do very like super often. I go to this young adults like rally thing, and it's like, even this tonight, because it's more of a social thing. I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, wow, no, I definitely don't get from it. Also, I'm not the most social person either. I think I used to, or no, I have a quote that says, or I wrote down a quote once that says, I will not walk into a party and go and meet everybody. I'm going to talk to everybody. I know people like that, and they're kind of a little annoying and obnoxious that way, but I like those kind of people where it's like, I sometimes envy those people and rever? What's the word? Like when you really look up and like, oh, I wish I could do that sometimes. Wish I could just be in like a, because that's the thing. I used to I think I've said this before. I used to walk into like every single social group. There were all these little social groups and things like my youth group or my church or something, and I just walk into them and then just like. Problem was I didn't really say much, and also I probably felt awkward, and I would just stay there for like just too long or just not long enough, like just too long or just like when it gets awkward. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so. I wish I could just actually do that, like just walk into like a group and just be like, yeah, and actually say something, and like, also I feel like I wish I had something to actually say. And I'm not the kind of person who just wants to start conversations. Like, I don't have much to say, but well, let's just start conversations, because that. No, it's just not me. I'm sorry, it's not me. Not that it's a bad thing, but just not. It's not me. I'm sorry, I just don't care. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. Although, I guess I could get better at that, but also I'm not I've never done any of those like talk masters where you like. Because I've also heard that Talkmasters is not necessarily just for public speaking. I knew people used to do it, so apparently from what I've heard, I don't know how true this is, I don't know. And there are probably different versions of it too, so maybe like certain ones do better than others and have a different. Anyway, it's also just for like learning how to talk, how to like speak, not how to speak per se, but how to like not really conversational, but like how to like actually make like, I don't know how to explain it, because I don't even remember how it was really like definitively explained to me, because it was like freaking 15 years ago now or something stupid like that. But it was something to the effect of like, you also learn how to like have no, because it wasn't a conversational thing. I remember it being explained to me like, also all I remember really is, it's not just for talking of like public speaking. You can use, or you can apply that to maybe it was more like someone said, well, you can apply this to other things, like just general like conversation. I don't know how to explain it. Like group set. I don't know. Maybe I'm pulling stuff out of my butt that I'm just making up out of the blue, and it's wrong memories. I don't remember anything really, or of that much of it actually, to be honest, but. I just remember somebody explaining it's not just for that. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So I'm just not very good at conversations anyway. Also, I'm not the kind of person who wants to like talk. But I'm one of the best listeners in just I'll sit there and listen to you for like 5 hours. You can unload everything. Problem is, there is a point where you have to like actually contribute to said conversation. Because that's what all the people always talk about. Oh, you gotta talk about, you gotta be a good listener. Yeah, whenever it's either talking about like a good social, I don't know how you say it, social, be good in a social group, or like when you're talking about girls, it's like, oh, gotta be the good listener. Yeah, but there has to be like a good listener that actually like also talks or also like adds to it, because then you feel like, okay, look, you're actually thinking about like, or they can actually like feel like you're like listening to the conversation. You're not just a monotone whatever, because you could like talk to the wall or get a cardboard cutout and just talk to it. Oh yeah, you're a good listener. But what does that mean? and you also have to acknowledge that you're actually listening. Like by doing that, you acknowledge, oh my gosh, and they get this like, whoa, you're actually listening. You're not just that person. Because there's sometimes when people just need to talk and vent, and they're like, I don't care, like it doesn't matter. I just need to talk. I just need to talk. I just need to just spew it all out to someone who's willing to listen. But then there's like no, you have to actually know, like you actually have to like feel like you're, or like make the person feel like okay, he's actually caring. I mean, look, I'm not at that point yet. I'm not at the good like, oh yeah, I can actually then be like, then contribute somehow. Because I don't know if I said it on stream the other day or not. I was thinking about it. I know I don't remember if I said it on stream though, but it was something to the effect of, no, I don't think I did. I was talking about it some other place, that communities, right? Now this doesn't have to be, Christian. It doesn't have to be non-Christian. It's any communities at all. Any communities you ever make ever anywhere. You have to feel like you're going into it with, or no. You have to go in with an open mind, a clean slate, and a willing to like take from it, right? And you could start with going into something and then just just kicking out, like just like listening and taking and observing, whatever, right? Because this isn't school or mundane, bland, monotonous, like just learning, right? Where someone just speaks, at you, and that's all you need to absorb, like listen to it, absorb it, and then just that's it, kind of thing. Oh, I'm learning. Okay, great. And maybe there's a test every so often, like just make sure, like you're actually like retaining the information, right? There's that. But then, no, like these kind of communities, you have to feel like you're going into these communities, and then you have to feel like eventually have to come to the part where like you're pulling something out of it, and you're contributing to it. Because just because someone's like feeding you doesn't mean that it doesn't necessarily inherently mean it's a good setup, right? You have to eventually at a certain point contribute something. Now it could take a long time. It could take 5 years before you feel like you can contribute or add to something. But you have to eventually get to that point, or else what are you doing in this group? See, I only know this stuff in like the Christian context with like the churches and the stuff. I've been in community groups too, but I was too young for these community groups. It was kind of just whatever. I was a kid. I wanted to play. I wanted to whatever. So it wasn't like I was like contributing very much to any of this. I was like, whatever, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, whatever. But like, I know it Christianly, but it applies everywhere, because it applies. You can even talk about like sports teams or political parties, and I'm talking like the you have to contribute. I'm talking contribute in like a more actual, what do you call it? Like personal contribution, not just like contribute. Oh, you're a politician. Oh, you have to contribute to. Well, I'm thinking of it because like I feel like there always has to be some sort of like personal contribution in any group you're in. Or else, what's the real reason you're doing this, right? Well, as a Christian, I feel like it's like you're going to get to Jesus eventually, but it doesn't have to be Jesus like directly either, or it doesn't have to be Jesus at all, depending on the setup situation. I'm okay with not ever talk. Well, ever talk about Jesus is kind of a little like, well, what's the point of you as a Christian being in this group? But you can talk about very little Jesus. You can, and still get the whole God thing across. No, I only know Christian wise, but I have been in a few groups of just non-Christian whatever people, and like, yeah, I feel like you just have to have this like if you don't care, you don't. Also, the kind of thing where you have to also feel like you want to know what's going on in someone's life, and you want to like converse, and I know this might sound like very straightforward, like, oh, of course. So yeah, sorry. Of course, like right, you would think this is easy, but like it is like sometimes overlooked. it has to be a two-way conversation. You have to have a two-way relationship. Because you would think, like, there's so many, especially in, like, romantic relationships. But that's kind of obvious. But still, in any relationship, you end up with that, like, well then, where it's like, oh, you have to have a two-way conversation. Because sometimes they just go in with, like, this, like, oh, I'm going to take from this relationship. Not conversation necessarily, but relationship. I'm just going to take from this relationship. I'm never going to really give much. It'll be fine or whatever. It's like, no, that's where it dies. Because they're like, what's going on with this stupid, what's going on here? Like, a conversation, Also, I've never had that many friends. So I've never had this, like, big friend group. My best friend thought that there was some big group, and it was like, I think I said to him once, like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? But, like, what are you talking about in, like, what do you mean? Like, you think it was, like, a big group? And he kind of was like, yeah, I mean, we had a group, no? What happened to the old group was, whatever, the old whatever. And it's like, it was, like, 4 people for, like, a week. It was, like, 4 people for, like, a month. And then that was it. 4 or 5 people for, like, a month. They never really stuck in. Some people just left and whatever. I don't know. It was weird. The like social group. I'm just telling you, I'm very socially challenged. I guess you could say socially awkward a little, but socially challenged in that, like, I never feel like I naturally gravitate towards, like, social everything. I always feel like there has to be some sort of setup, something. Also, just to me, it feels awkward because I just don't like that kind of thing. I don't know. Like tonight, I was at somebody's house, and I was at my friend's house, right? And I was like, oh, this is what this is. I used the word to both my mom and my dad. I said, it's devolved into this nothingness. Which, hey, don't get me wrong. You can have that every so often in this group. But considering this is a Christian group, you would think. But you would think that there'd be, Jesus, right? Or just God in some way. Now look, I'm not saying you can't do that. Every so often, I said to my mom, I said, as long as it doesn't, become a regular thing, or regular enough to feel like, hey, this has devolved into nothing, I think I'm okay. What was it? Yeah. That's the thing. These Christians like 2 words. They like these 2 words, and for some strange reason, they just love it. They're like, it's 2 words. I said this, I think today. No, I didn't. I was talking about somewhere else. Community, right? Community, right? Which I can get into the whole baloney of community the Christians use, but specifically the Protestant Christians. But I don't think it's a horrible thing, but it's very like, don't call this don't call this community. Stop your crap. Don't call this community, please. Then the other one is fellowship. Fellowship. It's the lazy word of, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to set anything up. I don't want to have any structured anything. So let's just F it and, let's call it fellowship. Oh, we're just fellowshipping. We're in fellowship. Which, I mean, yeah, it does say it in the Bible. You got to fellowship with each other. I don't know if they use the word fellowship per se, but that concept of, I think fellowship is used in the Bible. I'm not 100% sure. But it is definitely that thing where it's like, oh, yeah, fellowship. Let's, it's like, you have to fellowship, what was it called? What was I saying? Yeah, you be with people, learn people, talk with people, get to know people, right? Where, no offense, I think it's like just a cop out of like, oh, I don't want to do anything, but we're still gonna do something in air quotes, do something in air quotes. It's like, but. And it's like, it's a Jesus thing. It's like, what? And it's almost like, well, if I call it fellowship, it's still Christian. It's all good and nice and Christian still, It's like, what are you... I don't know. In my opinion, it ends up being that thing where it's like, again, you're using it as this lazy cop-out. Because, I'm sorry, every Christian group I've ever been to is always this organic... I'm not going to say it's crap, but very organic, it's very organic. Whatever. It just is what it's like. No. And my dad hated. I remember that. My dad hated that. He hated that just because he was such a teacher that always had like some. Because he was a teacher, my dad, and it was like such a like. No, it has to be a structured something. There has to be something to this. It can't just be like whatever. Although he does tell me stories. He does tell stories where it's like kind of like fluid, right? Where some of the things he does are like more organic, more like yeah, like not set in stone. But like he's like, yeah, but there's a difference between like what I did and just having no structure. Like just some of these things just having zero structure, like nothing. You're like, what? Because he kept asking me, well, did they do this? Did they pray? Did we crack the Bible open? Did you talk about God, Jesus? I was like, no. I walked in the car and he goes, so how was it? He goes, there was nothing constructive set up at all. And then I kept saying it. I'm like, Dad, there was nothing constructive set up. That guy running the thing wasn't even there. Look, I'm not going to say it's bad, right? Because, again, you can have these every so often. Go for it. Like I said to my mom, as long as it doesn't become a normal, it doesn't become consistent, doesn't happen consistently, I think it's fine. I think it's decent. Like, you can have this. But I also said to my other friend, or I said to my friend, I'm like, who was going, but then found out that he had school on Wednesday nights. So it's like, oh man. Anyway, which everyone's like, oh man, just like. Oh no. Where did it go? Okay. Right. Sorry. And he's the one who convinced to change the date from Thursday nights to Wednesday nights. He convinced the leader. It's like, now it's like, oh, whatever. Anyway, there are other people who think Wednesday nights is not a good night either. But then again, I said that right before I started before I started recording. I was like, yeah, but you're never gonna find everybody. Like, you're never gonna find the right time that everyone's gonna be available. Never. You know. I'm surprised more people didn't just say, oh, Wednesday night's no good for me now. Thursday was better. That kind of thing. But look, you're never gonna find the right setup. So, what's the point, right? Like, actually, what's the point? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, like, what's the point, right? There's no point in trying to please everything. Sorry. There's no point in trying to please everything. Like, find a way for everyone. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry. It's just not. Right? Okay, I'll have to find this shirt. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway. What'd you sell? Yeah, so. Hey. Look, I'm not saying this thing's bad. I'm just saying, like, I've never been great in social situations. Also, I think I also, like, right, like, a few minutes before I started, I was like, I feel like the kind of person that wants something structured, and then right as immediately once it gets something structured, I'm like, oh, I don't really want this. I think I'm okay with the social, non-structured stuff, as long as that's with people I actually want to, like, socialize with. Because, no offense, I thought about this. I'm like, I don't care about 90% of the people there. No, not these people are bad. There's nothing wrong with these people. I'm just saying, like, I don't care. Like, I just don't really care. I'm just like, I don't really care. Now, look, I have nothing wrong with these people. Well, I'm not going to go there, but 90% of them, it's like, yeah, whatever, who cares? Like, I'm, like, fine with them. I don't have a problem with them. I don't have a problem with any of these people. It's just, it's the kind of thing where, I'd go and talk with these people, but I wouldn't, like, seek out these people ever in any way. Like, I've said this before. I might have said this on a stream or on a podcast. I don't remember, but it's this, like, totem pole of people where it's like, the bottom is in like a below the surface, like an iceberg almost. Well, no, like a totem pole. But, like, there's, like, a below the surface totem pole where it's like part where it's like, I want you to die in a fire. I hope you burn in hell. I hate you with a passion. I'd literally actively try and seek harm to you. I'd want you dead. That's like the bottom. And most situations don't start there. Most, what do you call it? Social, like most friendships don't start that way. 'Cause I told my friend this because he always had the same problem with me, where it was like he didn't know how to like really connect with someone outside of these specific setups. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about his situation. I don't know if I have the permission to say stuff like that. Anyway, yeah. So that bottom. That's like below the surface bottom, like negative almost, in like the negatives if you could go that way, like, ooh, right? Really worse. You have the scale of like, and then like the bottom is, I don't hate, like, I do not care for you at all. I don't want, I don't want to ill intent, right? I don't want malice. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to see bad for you, but I just don't care. Like, I couldn't care less about you. Like, fair enough. And a lot of situations are like that. I feel like a lot of group situations end up being that, like, really, like, it's almost awkward because it's like, you're here, you're there, whatever. Like, most of the time, though, you end up with that person, those kind of people have people they do actually want to, interact with, which is, good. It's when those, like, 3 people who, 3 or 4 or whatever, like, it ends up being those, like, very few people in the same group, and it's only those people who showed up to this thing, and it's like, they all end up being, like, the people who, like, they all don't really care about each other, so it's like, now how you gonna, like, I can picture a few people right now, it's like, this, 3 or 4 people where it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't hate you, but I don't, and then there's, like, the level above, where it's like, okay, I'm okay with interacting with you at this event, or this thing, or this group, or this whatever, but I wouldn't care about you outside of this group, I don't really care, like school, work, church, social events, sports teams, that kind of stuff, right? Where it's like, I don't really care, right? And then there's a level above that, which is like, I talk to you outside of this thing, but we're still not like friends, like I would actively go out and, want to do stuff with you. Then there's a like, the level above that where it's like, okay, I would actually talk to you outside of the group. You're kind of in this low, like, if I need more numbers, if there's nobody else, that kind of thing. Which, fair enough. It's not a good one, but fair enough. Good ring on the totem pole, but ring on the ladder, but I'm not gonna go there. Like, it's fine. And then there's a, like, above that, which is like, oh no, I like this. I want to see you all the time. Like, I want you in these groups. I actively want you in these social situations. Like, I'd see you here. I also would converse or do stuff with you outside of, we'd be friends outside of this. So, which that can be best friends. But you could have, like, lower best friends, right? Like, not just, like, having to tell them everything. Like, we're, like, the best of, like, so connected, so close. You can just have that kind of thing. So I think that one has, like, a scale, like, oh, and then, like, that one can be, like, really high up, like, oh, I talk about everything, whatever. Like, we're so close. Like, I know everything about you, they know everything about each other. It's great, right? So that's the rings. And I have a lot of people at, like, ground level where it's like, I don't hate you. I don't want, harm to you. I don't want ill intent, malice. I don't want to hurt you, like, but I just don't care. But I couldn't care less. Like, I don't care. I think you want friends in the middle there of, like, that, like, you want a few people in that middle rung of, like, I want you outside of the thing, but, or at least I'm okay with. They're like, I can converse you outside of the thing, but I don't. Also, depending on the kind of person, because you can get those kind of people where it's like, yeah, I talk to your side, but I don't want to converse a lot. I don't want to, like, really, like, be the best of friends, like, friends. I don't care for that, And then the bottom ones where it's like, within this certain group circumstance, yeah, it's great. Because I've had a lot of people come to me and be like, well, I say it a lot, like it's like a lot. It's like 2 or 3 that have come to me and been like, whoa, 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 slow your roll here, kid. Slow your roll here, man. Slow your roll, bro. We ain't really friends. We only do crap because I only, associate with you because you're connected in this one way. I'm like, nice. One of those people was female, so I was like, oh, that helps a lot. Well then. But I kind of figured that out too. Figured as much. I'm like, yeah, just not surprising really. It's like not super surprising really. It's kind of like, ooh, it hits me, but I'm like, doesn't really. Kind of bounces off like a, ah. Getting, it's not a stab. It's more like somebody throwing something at you and just kind of like a flops off you. But like, you felt the pain, but it was kind of just like a, and it flops off you. Rather than like a stab with a, oh, you stabbed me and now I'm all cut. Oh, and that hurts. No. You still feel the pain, but it's like, it's not that bad. Like, okay. Anyway, for me, I feel like I have a lot of people at the bottom. Now, I have also gone into the whole thing below that, too. I've had a few people, but they kind of, I was going to say, I've had a few people at, like, even, like, the sub, like, the bottom level, like, the below ground level, where it's, like, they want, me to die. But they want everybody. They're just that kind of, like, I'm not going to, I don't want to use the word bitch, but they're, like, bitches. Where it's like, oh, my God, what the hell happened to you? Like, what's with you, person? A lot of times, and that's the thing, I was thinking about it in the car while I was waiting for something, and I was like, I was waiting in the car for something, and it was just like, because I was thinking about it specifically with females, and like, so many females were just bitch. I knew so many. I knew like 5 to 7 of these. I'm not even joking. 5 or, where they were just like, they were just bitches, like just full on bitches. Like, wow, what the heck? Why? What's wrong with you? Like, what? Oh my God, like, just like, wow. Just wanna be mean. Just wanna actively like, wow, like bash you, like mean, wow. And you just kind of think about those kind of people. They're not all females, but most of them were females. And so you always, I always thought of like, how do you have friends? How does anybody? It's because it was just the same group of people. Like the brother of this person was friends with this person's brother, and it's all just an interconnected circle. So it's like whatever. Or like with these certain people, they're not. I don't want to use the word evil, but they almost come off as evil. Like, oh, really? Almost bitter, almost like gritty. Oh, it's just bad. It's just not good. I don't understand how that gets that. Like, it usually is because it's almost bully-like, but not really. Because they're not trying to, like, bash at you. They just want to be mean. They don't want to, like... Because, I don't know. Well, I guess it would depend on the definition of, like, well, what's the difference between, like, being mean and then when does it go over to be like, this is a bully. This is a bully. Right? Well, now you're a bully. Or just every mean person automatically a bully, right? I know, a bully has to be mean, but is every mean person just a bully? Or does it have to be like an actively mean or what? I don't remember. Or not remember, but I don't know like what that definition really is, to be honest. I mean, look. Yeah, but it's not just females though. I've had males too that were like that. I'm like, oh my God, like what? The heck? I have had those people, but most of them, 90% of the people I've ever done anything with, it's that whole thing that you do. They always say it for relationships, but it doesn't have to be romantic relationships. It can just be any kind of relationship at all, any kind of like friendship in any way. It's do they ever contact you, or is it always you contacting them? Right? So you evaluate it in that way. If it is, then it's just at a bottom level of like, I don't care about. I mean, yeah, you're fine people, but I don't care. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can't have good relationships that are one. I don't want to say one-sided because they're not one-sided, but they're one-sided in the sense that like you don't ever hear from them. Like they never like start initiate anything. It's just kind of like okay, whatever. They're gonna be good, deep delving conversations, but they might be either busy or just like maybe one of those people where it's like they just don't think about that. Like oh, I didn't think about like ever contacting you. Like I'm very busy, but like whatever. Also, you have to kind of figure out whether when they say something like so they'll always say something, or most of the time they'll say something like, well, what's it called? Oh, it's great. I love talking about this. Like, it's great. No, it's good when you contact. I just have no time to like think about it or to actually initiate it and do stuff. I'm busy. Whatever. You have to think about like you have to think. I'm like, are you genuinely telling me that you actually like this, or are you just saying that to humor me and like pander me? Pander? No, I don't think that's the right word. I always think that means more like humoring. Like they're trying. It's not. I looked up the definition, or my dad looked up the definition. He's like, that's not. You're using that word slightly wrong. Because he's like, you can kind of use it in there, but it's not right. That's not the proper way to use it. It's one of those things where, like, it's one of those words where it's got, like, the third or fourth definition is, like, kind of connected to what you're saying, but it's not really. So you're like, ooh, ah. So I think I saw, like, a very loose definition way down at, like, 3 or 4 or 5 or something, and, like, oh, yeah, that kind of works. It wasn't really what it is. It still wasn't really what it was saying. Anyway, but humoring, like, are they just humoring you? Especially with females, like, are they just, like, are they actually saying this, like, because you can kind of tell, you can kind of, like, or you can pick up as to, like, it's the way they talk to you, it's the way they do things, it's the way they express, it's the way they, whatever. I'm like, the guy hosting the thing tonight at his house was just like, he said something to the effect of, he said, if I wasn't here, it wouldn't make a difference. And I went, exactly, it's exactly how I feel sometimes. I'll walk out of this whole thing and nobody would even make a difference. Because I don't add anything. I'm not the kind of person who, like, always like, yeah, I'm in this, whatever. Anyway, right? I digress. I mean, it's whatever. That's just my whole social thing. I am very bad at social. I've also kind of figured out within the last, I don't know, few months, like, I've learned, oh, no, I'm introverted. Because everybody thinks that introverts means, like, they don't want to talk, they're socially awkward. No. That's not introverted, really. That may be a unofficial, loose definition of introverts and extroverts. Like, extroverts are, like, the outgoing, the one. No. You can still be outgoing and feel and be introverted. And you can always also be super shy in there, but be extroverted. Like, the definition of the coins or the whatever you want to use, or the power bar, is a better definition because it actually explains, like, well, are you getting things out of being with people, or are they taking away from, I feel like I'm way more introverted than extroverted, but I think, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think it has a, like, sliding scale. It's a spectrum kind of thing, too. It's like a sliding scale of, like, oh, you can be, like, this high in the introvert and, like you like being with friends, but, like, or like being with people, but not super much, and, like, you're not a very conversational person. I don't know. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I'm not a psychologist. Psychologist, yeah. No. So I don't know. I don't know this stuff, like, well, so don't quote me on any of this. Actually talk about, like, this, but with a psychiatrist, therapist. I don't know who would be the right person to talk about this kind of stuff. So, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so I've within the last few months, I've been like, yeah, I get depleted out of friends, but then I'm like, and I've looked at back in my years, and, like, I could even be with, like, a good friend, and one person, and just be like, no, I have to, like, no, being alone, it's like, oh, like, just like, oh, like, just like, oh, loose, I don't. Also, I think it was Tom Scott who said, because he was in Toronto, right, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and he was at the CN Tower, and a group of people, I don't know, 5-10 people, came up to him, like, oh yeah, hey, whatever, and they talked for a few minutes, right? Oh, I like, Tom Scott, whatever, right? And they talked for a few minutes, and he said, it doesn't have to be fake, but you're always putting on a quote-unquote show, in air quotes, your quote unquote show, right? You're always putting something yourself on. You're trying to make yourself look more or whatever. You still might be you, but you're still trying to make it more enjoyable or exciting or like whatever. So, and that always can be tiring. And every single time I've been in these situations, I always tried to make it out to be more than, or like at least it was in like the last few months. Like, oh well, there's gotta be like a reason or like a good like, yeah, because like the awkward kid who just stands there or like is in every, I don't know, it just doesn't work. Anyway, so yeah, it's like and so that's what's tiring sometimes. It's like, oh my god, it's like, oh my god, I always think about. So that's the kind of things like, oh my gosh, not that I do a lot of that. Like I'm such a big like, oh I gotta make it whatever presentable, but like make a show out, not show show quote unquote show, you know, putting on a show quote unquote, you know. But yeah, I still have to do that because like, oh. Anyway, I'm like I just don't like because I don't like I'm out of the group of people like whether it's like one good friend or the multiple people I don't do with all this. It's like oh my gosh, it's like I get out of it. I'm like. It just feels like you're mentally like, oh my gosh, that was exhausting. Like, oh my god, like in the sense like I had to keep going almost. Like I can just feel like you're like shutting off your brain kind of thing. Like, oh. So that's my social setup. I was never good socially ever. And my brother was like freaking opposite. Don't. Oh my gosh, he could like make friends with everybody. Or he made friends with a lot of people. He just like pulls it out. I'm like, wow. Well then. Whether it was camp, church, anything, just always had it. And he was also very good at like female friends, like female friends. Also, I've also learned that within the last few months, I've also picked up that like I think it was Pat Contry who said he said that for him it was easier to make friends with females. And I looked at it, I'm like, friends? I don't know if I would say that. Okay, he said the only problem with females is the sexual tension. That's it. There may be a little bit of sexual tension, but really it's so much easier because with males you have that hierarchy thing. You have that like male dominance. You have that like Also, sometimes males just go. You have to have a reason to be. Well, why are we friends? What are the connections here? What are we doing? Why are we friends? With females, although females can be like close and like whoa because it's the opposite sex. A lot of females I've encountered with talking whatever. Some of them I've known for a while, so it's not that hard. But otherwise, it's like they'll open up and just be like, "Yeah, we were open to like learn about you, talk about you." It's like, and the males are like, question, Anyway, I'm not. I don't know. Just so like it's been easier to like converse and talk with these females. I'm like, within the last like 5 years, I've probably now made friends. No, not really. But conversed and like had conversations and like interacted with probably more females than males. I'm like, I also it baffled me. I'm like, wait. I looked at it, like I thought about it. I'm like, whoa. How does it? Okay. I don't know how that works, but hey. Now, but that's the thing. You ask me how many friends do you have? I'd be like, that depends on your definition of friend, right? Maybe like 3? Although, how many friends should you have, right? Is it one of those things where it's like better to have less friends, but they're closer, or a lot of just random like? Again, it's on the totem pole. Also, it's also kind of an subjective thing. I mean, yes, you don't want the people who are like go burn in hell, die in a fire. I wish all the malice, all ill intent, malice and ill intent bad. I want you to die. I will actively go out and try and make sure you harm is done to you. But yeah, you probably don't want that. But it depends on your definition. Like that, and probably the bottom one where you don't care. It depends on what you want these people to be for. Like what scale, where on the totem pole you want them. Are you okay with the people just above that? Was like I like you in this setup, and like what level do you could start considering them friends? Right, friends. Right? Do you consider friends people you know, in just whatever circumstance. Like, oh, I only know, because we went and we were involved in this group. Right? And, like, are you okay with, and, like, is that your consideration of friends? From that point up? Or are you, like, more like, no, you have to actually contact me outside of whatever group and, like, want to do something with me. So, right? So, I think probably about 3, maybe 4 friends, like, friends. Someone you can call up, well, yeah, I guess, yeah, someone you can call up and say, and they'd be down to do something with you. And then best friends are like, they would call you, and you would call them, and it was just like back and forth. Because I don't think friendships have to be double-sided, per se, in that way. Like, they don't have to always contact you, and, that way, At least that's what I feel. I don't, you may have a different definition of friend. There might be a psychological, like, this is a friend. Someone who, or, I don't know, I was going to say scientific. I don't think it's scientific, but, like, psychological, like this is the definition of a friend, someone at this level. Like, you have to actually, they really, mentally, and then that's considered a friend. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, so psychologist. I don't study the I don't study the human psyche, the mind, so don't quote me on any of this, but that's what I feel. And that's why I've kind of felt like, not crap, but I've kind of felt like, nah, within the last, like, probably month. So it's like, everybody falls into those slumps of, like, also, it's because of the time of year. I hate this time of year with a passion. The time of year I hate the most is from like the, like, last week of August to the last week of, or to, like, in the middle of September, when, like, everything's ending. You don't want to go into, like, you're not into the things yet. There's that stupid, I don't know why, but at least here, there's that stupid, like, there's, like, 2 weeks, both in the beginning and the end of the season. So, like, spring, summer, and then summer to fall, where it's like, why? It's 2 weeks of nothing. They're like, oh, I said to my friend, because he goes, why is it over? And he's like, these, I don't know why. I do not understand it at all. I don't get it. But why but they love their 2 weeks. Why? I have no idea, but these people love their 2 weeks. I love my 2 weeks. Mwah, mwah. I gotta have my 2 weeks. It's the same kind of people, though, who, if I'm gonna be brutally honest, these people could do this, like, devolved into nothing fellowship. They could just always do that. Because it's the kind of people who use that word, fellowship, as this, like, fallback. Oh, we're not, I don't want to do anything, so it's just be fellowship. And by calling it fellowship and not just, like, a party, per se. Because when is it just a group of people? Right? Like, it's like the song from, but when is it a group of people? And then, right, when does it go from a group of people to a party, right? Because, like, you could, in theory, have called this a party. There's music, there's food, there's social interaction. Is that technically not a party? It's like the song from Phineas and Ferb that Candace sings when her mom calls, and it's like, because it was supposed to be a study thing, right? And then, like, somehow Phineas and Ferb, like, make it out to be like, hey, look, Candace, she's got a party, and then their mom calls, and it's like, Mom, no, don't get the wrong impression. It's not a party. It's an intimate get-together. Get-together. It's like a song. It's not a party. It's an intimate get-together. Mom, no, stop. It's not a party. It's an intimate get-together, So to me, it's like, when does it go from a party, or an intimate get-together, to a party? Or, like, just a group of people hanging and to a party, right? Is it the number? Is it the what you do? Is it the thing? I don't know. You know what I mean? Also, what peeves me the most, one of the things that peeves me the most off is, I gotta stop soon, because I don't want to go forever, but peeves me off is, I don't have a driver's license yet, so my dad still drives me places, and it's like, drives me nuts. I'm like, just get the damn drive. It's a thing that because my parents don't think I'm good at driving, or to the standard that I'd pass the test. They think I'd go, like, 3 or 4 times, like, legit, 2 or 3 or 4 times. Like, oh my, I'm like, Really? Well, I did fail my learner's permit test once. So, I guess that says something. All right, but the stupid thing was I failed by one question. My brother failed it twice by one question. Or 3 times. And I think he failed it once by, like, whatever, and then twice by one question. I was like, oh my god, like, what? Oh my god. Also, from what I've heard, at least from what my brothers told me, and other people actually, there was like 1 or 2 other people who told me that because we're in Quebec, the French test is translated to English, and it's just translated poorly because they don't care. They really don't care. They just, like, half-ass, translate it. They just bodged whatever, and it's like, oh my god. So some of the questions like, what did you mean by that exactly? I thought you meant this. What? Huh? Who you? What? How? What? Anyway, it's dumb, but anyway, I'm not gonna say it's like. But second time I took it, like, I'm not gonna say it's horrible, but second time I took it, I actually passed like pretty decently. I don't remember how many questions there were, but I think I needed to get 80%. Was it? Was it 80%? Something like that. Anyway. I don't remember exactly what it was. So, and my brother has warned me. He's like, it's going to be stupid. It's going to be one of those things that's just, what do you mean by that? At least since the last time he took it. So, anyway. He's like, yeah, if I remember, it's like going to be dumb. And the other one's like, the other test, which is the practical, this is the practical test. Because we have 2, the written and a practical. I've heard stuff like, they'll sometimes purposely, because they either look at you like you're just not ready yet, right? Or they want their money, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like $100 or something to take the test. It's like, what? That's what I thought. I'm like, that's dumb, but whatever. Anyway. So I want to drive. I want to be driving by now. I should have been driving by now. Fucking stupid. Take the damn test. Anyway. Because I put off learning to drive for so long because like, I didn't go to a lot of places. I didn't. And so every little thing, and it was a lot of things like church and like, community things where like my parents were going to it anyway, so what's the difference, right? I don't have to learn to drive. But now it's like, no, but also, now I'm at that level where I don't, because also I knew a lot of people. I knew like a lot of moms who just didn't know how to drive. And they were like moms. So they were like 30, in their 30s or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to end up being that guy who like, he's like 30, mid-30s, late 30s, and still doesn't know how to drive, like doesn't have a driver's license yet. That'd just be weird. And everybody around me has one. Everybody around me has one. Except my brother, he still hasn't done. But other than that, every single person around me has one. So I'm like, well, not every single person, but lots of people around me, like almost everybody I know has one. So it's like, well, just. And my friend who has one, a close friend, is like, it's not that bad. It's not that hard. I was like, and it really isn't. It's just, I don't know. Anyway, in my opinion, I can stop having to leave. So also because my dad still has to do other things too. He's whatever, go get home. It takes a while to get home too. It's like, although we only have 2 cars and one's a van, and the van's bad, and my dad doesn't like using the van. Oh, the car's not good either. I was looking at cars. If you guys know any like good cheap cars, I'm thinking like cheap cars between I'm thinking like 1,000 to like 5,000 in that range. Decent but not great. I don't need great, but also I don't want like, I don't want like some like crap $400 car. Like, how did you get it under $1,000? Under $1,000, because that anything under $1,000 is kind of like, okay, well, no. But yeah, I was saying. Yeah, so if you know good cars, hey, I was looking them up. I did 2 things. I looked up like what good cars, affordable, like just cars you can buy just for like everyday, like just get a car. And then I looked up like, because I like old cars. Well, I did like old cars at one point. I was like, I looked up on a subreddit. It was like classic car subreddit, and it was like, what's a good first classic car that you can, that's a good daily driver? And I got 2 answers. I got, you're not going to get really classic, like the super classics at, cheap. None of these classics are going to be cheap. And then somebody said, well, get like a 80s, like truck. They still got that like cool, classic look, classic feel, but, but like you're also gonna have some of the more comforting things. I feel like modern cars. Because one problem people had, I did state I was in Canada, and they're like, "Oh, so winters that's gonna screw you." I thought of a Tesla and a DeLorean, but the problem is with the DeLorean, I don't know if DeLoreans might fall into the same category as like a lot of like every classic car, or it's like they're never really designed for winter, really, which is weird because there has to have been at one point. I guess the standards were just lower. I don't know how to. I don't know, but there had to be people driving like the cars that everybody quotes like, oh, it's not gonna be good for winter. In the winter, at one point in time, no, maybe they're just bad, and they just accepted it because that was just what it is. I don't know. Because I want to get my own car too, just to, like whatever. It too, but like because I want my own car so I can just drive and be like, F you, man. I can just go. Anyway, and not have them worry about, a car is missing, like as in like there's one less car, and not worry about their car and then I can just be out and be like, and they just tell me, be back by before midnight or whatever. It'd be great. No, but no. Because they're like, oh, you're not ready for the driver's test, which I'm probably not. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm probably not ready for the driver's test. But I could take the freaking written. Don't get me wrong, I could take the written. Anyway, I don't think the written's going to be that horrible. But now we've implemented that stupid, thing where it's like, you can't drive between midnight and 5 a.m., I think it is, and you can't have a certain amount of people, and you can only have, like, I think it's 2 people under the age of 18 in the car, something like that, or over the age of 18, something like that. It's kind of stupid, but it's like, there are levels now. Yeah. Anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, so, anyway. That's my goal. My goal was to get it to finish that by the end of September. Didn't happen. I'm gonna do it by the end of October though. Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna make it a thing I do. I'm gonna start maybe tomorrow taking the tests because there's online practice tests. Although my brother said some of those questions, some of the things, it's the same stupid. Here are the questions. Here are the practice. It's going to look something like this, and then you get to think like, what? There's like 5 other questions here, 10 of the questions here that were not even close to what the things I practiced. Anyway, well, somebody told me the last lesson I took, because they have to take lessons here in Quebec for like freaking 18 months or something. 18 months? What am I talking about? Like 9 months or 10 months or something? Anyway, I was always told it was 2 years, but then someone was like, no, it's stupid. I'm like, no, it is, isn't it? And then I took it, I'm like, oh, it really isn't. Oh. I thought it was like 18 months, and it's not even a year and a half. It's like, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so the last instructor in the road practical test was like, yeah, just do 6 and 3, I think she said. And then it was, you'll be fine. I'm like, really? And she also lived in Laval, so she was like lived near my town, so I was like, oh yeah, well, just, lived in my city, so it's like, also, they're kind of a little bit higher or whatever. Also, my brother has taken him here, done the test here, and it's like, oh gosh. Also, she's not the only person who has said that it's bad, whatever, around here. Somebody I knew said she took a test here. I think she failed twice or 3 times. First test she goes and takes out in the eastern townships. She does it the first time. It's like, oh, that's so stupid. It's like, yes, it is. But anyway, I think that's going to be it, though, for now, guys. I got to stop this because I could go on about this crap forever. You got any ideas for cars? It'd be great. But that aren't going to be like 10,000, 25,000. But for a new car, that's actually not bad. 25,000, 30,000. It's actually not that bad for a new car. Anyway, got to, move on with my life. Move forward. So, there again, if you want to get in contact, there's both Discords. There's the page. There's the email, which is tacoimposters@gmail.com, and there's the Patreon, patreon.com/wingwong. I never actually said what it was, but I have a Patreon. It's all in the description of this audio thing on what's it called, Anchor. So yeah. So yeah, I mean that's kind of it. I do a stream every day. I've said it a few times on my other second channel, just my name, Andrew First Channel. Just my name. Although there are like 3 of them. If you can find, I don't post the what's it called, or I don't do it every day, but I do it almost every day. I do it regularly. I'll stream on YouTube. I don't post the YouTube link because I don't know. So if you find a name enter channel with like a taco, or drawing of a taco, that's my logo. That's my channel. Anyway, maybe I should post it on here. I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest. I don't really care. Anyway, oh, that didn't. Interesting. I didn't really. Oh, because you have to have enough. Okay, I just realized. I'm like, because I have a reminder in my chat that reminds people, but you have to have a minimum. Remind people of like, oh, donate to here and donate to here, right? Which is donate in the description for the stream, and then donate to my Patreon. But then I realized, oh, you have to have a minimum amount of things. In the last 2 days, I don't think I had a minimum amount of lines, like of chats, like a minimum number of chats. Anyway, people chatting. Anyway, lines chat. Anyway, yeah, I think that's gonna be it for now, guys. Yeah, adios, mi amigos.